Just as the whispers begin to quiet down, another unexpected twist sends the fandom spiraling. A close friend of the group, speaking anonymously, has hinted that Taehyung's alleged no wasn't simply about scheduling or burnout. It was deeper. It was personal. This wasn't a standard disagreement about choreography or media appearances. It was, they say, about values, about whether the soul of BTS was being compromised for something more corporate. That's a terrifying thought. If true, it would mean that even the most artistically respected member of the group, Taehyung, known for his sincerity and introspection, feels conflicted about the very machinery that helped catapult them to global stardom. JUNGKOOK's silence grows louder with each passing day. While fans grasp for any sign, an Instagram like, a comment, a shadow in a friend's post, there is nothing. No recent Weverse activity, no live streams, no airport sightings, just silence. It's almost poetic, really. The golden Magne, who's usually the most spontaneous and free-spirited, has now become the most unreachable. Is he simply resting, recovering, reflecting, or is he running from something? His recent trip to the US, filled with solo schedules, cryptic interviews, and emotional performances, is now being combed through with a fine-tooth comb. Fans are dissecting his every look, every sigh, every half-smile for hidden meaning. One moment in particular, during a live stream where he paused mid-sentence and seemed to tear up before abruptly ending the broadcast, has ignited thousands of Reddit threads and YouTube breakdowns. What was he about to say? Back at HYBE HQ, things are far from calm. Internal sources suggest that emergency meetings have been held, NDAs have been signed, and legal advisors are suddenly becoming a regular fixture in artist planning rooms. The company has always projected strength, consistency, and structure. But lately, there's a different energy. The once flawless PR machine seems to be malfunctioning. Memos are going out late. Scheduled posts are disappearing. Managers are being unusually tight-lipped, even with long-time staff. HYBE's silence isn't just about managing a public image. It might be about preventing a leak that could shake the very foundation of their empire. The center of it all, the fans are experiencing a storm of emotions. Fear, confusion, betrayal, loyalty. One day, you're celebrating JUNGKOOK's solo project breaking records. The next, you're crying over unconfirmed reports that he's refused to return to Korea. Some fan cafes have even closed temporarily, with moderators citing emotional fatigue. The sense of community that has always defined ARMY is now being tested in new ways. In every corner of the world, from Seoul to Sao Paulo, Jakarta to Johannesburg, there's a shared tension. Something isn't right. Everyone can feel it, and yet the public narrative remains under tight control. News outlets affiliated with HYBE partners have avoided the topic entirely. You won't find headlines about Taehyung's refusal or JUNGKOOK's disappearance on mainstream Korean media. Instead, there are vague reports of creative exploration and temporary scheduling gaps. But fans know better. They've seen this before, how the machinery works, how it frames stories, how it omits just enough truth to keep people calm. But this time, it feels different. This time, it feels like we're not just missing a few puzzle pieces. We're missing the entire picture. What if Taehyung's no was about more than a comeback? What if it was his line in the sand, his personal act of resistance against a system that values productivity over passion? What if JUNGKOOK's silence isn't just retreat, it's revolution? Maybe he's done playing along. Maybe he's preparing to speak, not just for himself, but for every idol who's ever been told to smile through burnout, to sing through grief, to keep dancing even when the music doesn't feel like theirs anymore. And what if HYBE knows that moment is coming and is terrified of it? Imagine the fallout if the two most beloved members of BTS, V and JUNGKOOK, publicly challenge the narrative. Imagine them going live, unfiltered, and telling us the truth. Not the polished version, not the press release, the truth. Would the fandom survive it? Would the industry? This is why HYBE's silence is so loud. Because deep down, they understand that this isn't just about a group. It's about a legacy, a global brand, a billion-dollar valuation, investors, partners, sponsors. The machinery is delicate, and it was built on the backs of artists who have now, perhaps, finally found their voice. You can feel the tension building like a slow, rolling thunder. It's not just ARMY watching now, it's the entire entertainment industry. What happens when the golden boys say enough? What happens when loyalty becomes rebellion? When silence becomes resistance, the narrative is still unfolding. We are still in the eye of the storm. But make no mistake, something is shifting. And whether you're ready or not, the truth has a funny way of coming out. It starts as a whisper, then a rumor, then a headline. And before you know it, it's a movement. So watch this space. Keep your notifications on. Keep your heart open. Because Taehyung has spoken, JUNGKOOK has vanished, and HYBE is cracking under the weight of its own perfection. The stage is set. The lights are dimmed, and somewhere, just beyond the curtain, the real story is about to begin. And then, as if the universe had been listening, the curtain twitched. A flicker of activity. Taehyung, silent for days, uploads a single, striking image on Instagram, a dimly lit hallway, out of focus, with a caption that simply reads, "Not everything needs to be seen. No hashtags, no tags, no explanation." The post vanishes 5 minutes later. But it's too late. Screenshots flood X, formerly Twitter, and the ARMY descends into decoding mode. What doesn't need to be seen? What's hidden in that hallway? Was it symbolic? A passage into something new? Something unknown? Or was it a direct jab at the company he helped build with his blood, sweat, and tears? Within hours, hashtag Where is JUNGKOOK and hashtag Taehyung start trending worldwide. Not because fans want drama, but because they can feel, deep down, that something profound is happening. Something the press is too cautious to print, and the industry too afraid to acknowledge. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, rumors begin to swirl that JUNGKOOK has been spotted meeting with a high-profile American producer known for managing stars who broke free from controlling labels. Paparazzi photos are blurry, but the resemblance is uncanny. Black hoodie, cap low over the eyes. The way he walks, confident, but with that signature stillness that fans know so well. The story picks up momentum when an anonymous recording surfaces of someone, allegedly a studio engineer, saying he didn't want anyone from the label in the room. He said he wanted to try it raw, honest. Raw, honest. Words that don't always pair well with the K-pop system. Then, the silence from HYBE breaks, but only slightly. In a press release colder than usual, they mention that some artists are currently focusing on solo development and individual health, and that there is no internal conflict. No names are mentioned. No context is given. The statement is met with immediate backlash. It feels sanitized. Plastic. As if they're trying to pour perfume over smoke. ARMY isn't buying it. And now, neither is the media. Major entertainment sites in the West begin to pick up the story. Rolling Stone, Billboard, Variety, they all start connecting dots. Not just about this situation, but the wider pattern of control that has surrounded BTS since day one. A new narrative emerges, not one of sensational scandal, but of courageous self-liberation. JUNGKOOK and Taehyung, once global darlings of the system, may now be its biggest critics. And then comes the moment no one expected. A leaked snippet of audio, barely 2 minutes long, makes its way online. It's JUNGKOOK. The audio isn't high quality, and you can hear the crackle of old speakers in the background. But his voice? Unmistakable. Raw, a little tired, but crystal clear. He says, "There's a time when you stop being afraid to tell the truth. I've loved every moment with the members, but I can't lie anymore. I need to breathe. I need to be heard as myself." The file ends with him breathing in deeply, like he's about to say more, but then it cuts off. Chaos erupts. Theories flood every corner of social media. Was this recorded with his consent? Was it meant to be part of a documentary? A diary entry? An accidental leak from the studio? HYBE scrambles to issue a takedown, but it's already out there. Fans begin to analyze the waveform, looking for edits, seeking proof that it's authentic. And though no one confirms its source, the fandom already knows. They feel it in their bones. At this point, Taehyung's image reappears online, not a post this time, but an accidental leak from a private gallery show he attended in Paris. The photos show him standing alone, wearing all black, gazing at a surrealist painting that depicts a faceless figure surrounded by glass. He looks solemn, introspective, and alone. As if he's standing inside a metaphor he can't yet explain. Speculation becomes obsession. Documentarians begin working overtime. Fan-made exposés go viral, connecting Taehyung's refusal to perform, JUNGKOOK's sudden flight, HYBE's generic responses, and the rising tension in the group's storyline. Clips are resurfaced of Jean warning in a past live stream, "We're not machines," of RM saying, "Sometimes it's hard to feel heard." What were once dismissed as poetic musings are now being reinterpreted as quiet cries for help, and amid the storm, HYBE remains strangely still, and new press releases.
No videos, no tweets.
It's as if they're waiting, either for the storm to pass or for something even bigger to drop. And fans? They're torn. Some hold out hope that this is just a creative break, an extended artistic sabbatical, a necessary evolution. Others are convinced this is the beginning of the end, not of BTS, perhaps, but of their relationship with the company that built them. More than ever, questions hang heavy in the air like fog. Did Taehyung say no because he's planning a quiet departure? Is JUNGKOOK's disappearance a strategic exit or a silent protest? Are they both working together behind the scenes on a message so raw and revolutionary that even HYBE isn't ready for it? And if so, what will that message be? Something is coming. Something that doesn't fit inside a press conference or a staged apology. Something not crafted for shareholder approval or brand synergy. Something real, because when the most beloved voices in global music choose silence over conformity, distance over publicity, and truth over performance, it's not just a scandal. It's a statement, and that statement, it's still writing itself. A countdown appears on a mysterious website linked from an anonymous social media account, one that fans trace back to a JUNGKOOK fan project, but strangely, the IP ties to multiple global locations, including Seoul, Paris, and Los Angeles. The page is pitch black, save for white text that reads, July 7th, 24, he will speak. There's no logo, no music, just silence and time ticking down. As ARMY scrambles to decode the significance, July 7th, 24 being July 7th, just days away, speculation erupts. Is this JUNGKOOK? Is this Taehyung? Is this both? As word spreads, media giants from Korea to the US try to get answers, but HYBE remains eerily silent.
No confirmations, no denials.
The timing is suspect. It coincides with a rumored BTS anniversary special that was allegedly delayed. Now, fans believe that delay wasn't a coincidence, it was fear. Fear that something unscripted might overshadow the narrative. Across fan forums and private Discord servers, an old theory is resurrected, one that many dismissed months ago. The idea that JUNGKOOK and Taehyung have been building toward an independent artistic launch, something outside HYBE's control. Not a solo album, but a joint statement. A reckoning. Evidence mounts. Coordinated absences, simultaneous silences, identical timing of their last online activity. Fans begin to notice patterns in old live streams, cryptic lines like Taehyung whispering, "I hope one day we'll say what we really want," and JUNGKOOK responding quietly, "That day's closer than you think." The tension becomes unbearable on July 6th, a day before the countdown ends. A 12-second teaser video is uploaded to the site. A black screen. Faint breathing. Then JUNGKOOK's voice. This isn't goodbye. It's the beginning of everything they told us we couldn't do. The video ends with the words, "We remember. Do you? No one sleeps that night." Hashtags flood global trends. Hashtag JK7 reveal. Hashtag Taehyung and JUNGKOOK. Hashtag free to speak. Hashtag BTS unbound. Everyone's waiting, and when July 7th finally arrives, what happens is bigger than anyone expected. The video drops. It's 34 minutes long, titled, "The Things We Were Told Not to Say." It begins with JUNGKOOK sitting in a plain room.
No makeup, no styling,
a simple gray hoodie. He stares directly into the camera. His first words, "I'm not doing this to hurt anyone. I'm doing this because I need to breathe." And so does he. Taehyung appears beside him, his voice low, clear, filled with emotion. We've loved BTS with our whole hearts, but we've also lived inside expectations that weren't ours. Then, for the first time, they speak about what fans have only guessed for years: the exhaustion, the censorship, the pressure to perform when they were grieving, ill, broken. JUNGKOOK recalls nights crying alone in rehearsal studios. Taehyung talks about the terror of losing his identity in scripted variety shows. Both of them describe a system that polished them, promoted them, praised them, until they asked to speak freely. And then, the silence. The warning meetings. The edits. The compromises. But the video is not an attack. It's a love letter. To each other. To the members. To ARMY. "We aren't breaking BTS," Taehyung says. "We're trying to keep it honest. Because if we stay silent, then everything we stood for becomes just branding." They don't name names. They don't insult. They don't explode. But their message is thunderous in its calm. They are claiming their voices. They announce a new project, one completely self-produced, outside any label, set to premiere later that year. Not an album, not a tour, something they call a truth performance. Live, unfiltered, and censored, for one night only. And in that moment, the world breaks wide open. Media erupts. Every major outlet from CNN to KBS covers it live. HYBE releases a brief, clearly rushed statement. "We respect the artistic freedom of our artists and continue to support all members of BTS in their individual journeys." But the damage, or rather, the awakening, is already done. You can't put truth back in a bottle once it's been poured out. Within hours, stock analysts begin questioning HYBE's valuation, not out of panic, but out of realization. The artists hold the power now, not the label. And ARMY? They respond not with division, but unity. Fan projects multiply. Donations pour into mental health charities in JUNGKOOK and Taehyung's names. Billboards go up in Times Square, Tokyo, Dubai, Berlin, bearing a single phrase: "Thank you for your voice." In the weeks that follow, more idols begin speaking in carefully coded posts. Quiet expressions of exhaustion, gratitude, hope. It starts to feel like a movement, like something new, something the industry didn't predict, but desperately needs. JUNGKOOK and Taehyung disappear again, this time not out of fear, but choice. Their truth performance premieres 3 months later. A cinematic concert meets confessional. It sells out in under 2 minutes. Critics call it a cultural reset. ARMY calls it the most BTS thing they've ever done. And though HYBE continues to operate, and BTS remains a group in the eyes of the contract, the spirit of what began on July 7th lives far beyond it, because now, fans understand something crucial. Taehyung's no wasn't rejection. It was protection. JUNGKOOK's silence wasn't escape. It was preparation, and HYBE's silence wasn't control. It was fear. Did I end the end? The question that started it all. What's going on with HYBE? No longer matters as much, because now the question that echoes louder is, what happens when artists finally speak? And the answer? Everything.